Yes, absolutely. Good to have you on.
All right. I saw the young lady from Kansas City. I used to live there. Beautiful city, right? For me, I've been with you guys for over a month now, and you talk about just amazing results. For me, it gives me mental clarity. I feel healthier, just the body. And I call it the subtle solution, because a lot of little things will happen unless someone mentions it to you or you just happen to think about it, you don't even pay attention to. So for me, that's been good, and my hair is getting a little thicker, which is always a beautiful thing. But, the other testimonials I have involve family members. My wife was having trouble with her hips. So at nighttime, she would wake up 2 or 3 times, have to flip over things of that nature. In fact, she even ordered this to kind of help out online. But after we got the patches, the first night, I remember her sleeping pretty good. The next morning, she said, you know what? Both hips felt good. I slept through the night with no problem. Didn't have to get up. I feel good. She also was having carpal tunnel problems. That went away. And one of the biggest things, she went to the dentist to get some work done the next day. And when she got home, she said, you know what? Do you have one of those other patches for pain? I said, the ice wave? I said, yeah. She said, I'm put it on my face. I said, yeah, let's see what happens with that, because we're still new at this stuff. She put it on her face, and within a minute, the pain was gone. That was incredible. So I said, well, you know what? We're going to expand this a little bit. So I sent it to my sister in Michigan. She has COPD. So for her to get up and do one task was a lot. But the first time she put the patch on, the next day she woke up and she said, you know what? When I woke up, I thought it was about 7 o'clock or 6 in the morning. It was 9 o'clock. I haven't slept that well in years. I'm like, you serious? She said, yeah. I said, okay. And I said, what happened after that? So she got up, and she usually does one thing, whether it's cook or whatever. She said that day she got up, she cooked, she cleaned up her house, and she lives in an apartment, and washed 4 loads of clothes, which meant she had to leave the apartment to do it. That was incredible. And the biggest thing, she uses oxygen. I talked to her yesterday. She said, you know what? Very seldom do I even use the oxygen anymore. I feel so good. I don't know what's in the patch, but it's working well. But my final story, and probably perhaps the biggest, my 95 and 94-year-old uncle and auntie. Now, they're in Michigan, and before we even thought about, turning them on to this particular product, we did some research, talked to Verdita, talked to Robin, Rasul, who brought me on, and we just had a lot of conversations. I looked up a lot of stuff, Googled a lot of stuff, and I talked to my cousin. I said, you know what? I think this will help. My auntie had eye surgery a few years ago, and the guy burnt her cornea. The doctor did, so she was basically blind. So I thought about them initially when this first was brought to my attention. So to make a long story come to a stop, they got back to Michigan. They put it on there in Alabama when I gave it to them. Got back to Michigan. She put it on, and my cousin called and said, my mom said last night, she said, I don't know about my eye. I don't see anything different with that. But my back feels good. My shoulders that were sore are no longer sore, and I can turn my neck. I haven't been able to do that in years. And plus, her foot was numb. One of her feet was numb. And she says that went away. There's no numbness anymore. So she's at 94 telling all her friends about it. And she has her own little thing. She said, you know what? It works at different times for different people. So you have to stick with it. But for her, she had instant gratification. Now, my uncle, after seeing her the first day, the next day, he put it on. Now, 95, active, played golf until he was about 90, that kind of thing, but kind of slumped over now as age kind of catches up with you. My cousin texted me the night he put it on, later that night, and said, you know what? Dad is over there, and he's walking straight up. He hadn't been straight up in a while. And the next day, he went in the yard and started pulling weeds out of the vegetable garden. He hadn't done that in a while. So those stories alone were incredible. And it had me saying, you know what? I have to get this out to as many people as I can. Now, one buddy I sent it to in Arizona, I'll say this quickly, he thought his blood pressure machine was broken. But he said, you know what? For the last 2 days, I've been 117/70. He said, I've never been that. And he said, I thought the thing was broken. Then I remembered I've been putting the patches on. And that was the difference. So this thing is incredible. And I'll wrap it up by saying, it's one of those things like when you see a car you haven't seen before, and once you see it, then you see it everywhere, right? It's like this now. When I take the patches in the car with me, when I go to the grocery store or whatever, when I see people, I didn't notice the limp before, or the discomfort,
Yeah.
And you notice it and you want to share it. So
That's right.
It's been incredible. So that's my story.
Wow. Thank you, William.